All right, it's exactly 9 o'clock. I think we can start. Mhm. Maybe let's wait for a few more minutes for others to join. All right, I think we can start. It's 9:03 in the morning. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the fifth day of the week. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to CHRDF's webinar series. Excuse me. This is the last webinar for this week, and we are here to present to you how do you evaluate free online resources. And I have a little short tagline at the bottom because not everything free is good. No, this is a very timely topic for I think for everybody to know, especially that we are, as you know, faced with a very unusual condition, and we are also here in this world where the online world is filled with a lot of online resources and online materials, and it is very important as teachers, for us to evaluate which ones we really need and which one is really good out there in the market, out there in the open, in the world wide web. So we'll spend about 2 hours, for this webinar. Just to introduce myself, my name is Dino Danao. I am currently the director for the Institute of Technology-Based Learning at Jose Rizal University. If you are not familiar with Jose Rizal University is a 100-year-old institution. We are located at Shaw Boulevard in Mandaluyong City. okay? And we have about a population of 10,000 students, and um, we are currently holding our special summer term in full online mode, and we will be doing the same for the first semester for the school year, including the basic education. And I'm very glad to share these ideas with you because, similar to you, my teachers in the university are grappling as well to know what materials, know what online resources they can actually use in school. And I think it's time that we create some sense of way how do you evaluate resources available online. And like what I mentioned, there's a lot, there's a sea of free resources that you can use. So I don't think shelling out a little bit of cash will be a problem, because everything is free out there in the online, and we have some companies and websites who are even supporting this. And again, especially because it's the COVID-19 pandemic affecting our schools, many companies, many online companies have also opened their applications, their online sites for teachers to use, especially during this time. So I'll go through it briefly with you today, just to give you an outline of our session this morning. The first part, we'll be doing a little bit of a review of the universal design of learning. For those who have attended my previous sessions in the past weeks, I have already made an introduction of what the universal design of learning is, or UDL, okay? Because knowing UDL as educators, it's a must, you know. And especially now our focus is really on how to evaluate online resources. It's good to know what is the universal design for learning, because from learning we can also think about how we can do a universal design, you know, on how we can choose the right applications. And then I'll give you a rubric for evaluation. Now, this is a very simple rubric to check, okay, and to analyze if this online application or this online tool will be very helpful for me, okay. And then lastly, which will be the bulk of today's session, I'll be spending a lot of time with you this morning to give you a demo on the various free online tools which I feel is very helpful, which I have used as well personally in my classes. Um, Despite being an administrator in the school, I still enjoy teaching in the classroom, and I love using a lot of online free resources. So I will be sharing all those resources with you this morning. Hopefully you will be able to adopt one or two. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so I always start with this one. I always tell my teachers this, that um, many teachers think that edtech or educational technology is a solution for any problem being faced inside the school. Now, even prior to the pandemic, many teachers think that, oh, if I cannot control my child, say for example, I will give him an iPad for him to be entertained. But that's not actually nice, no? Or for example, my students are losing interests in the lesson. I would be using a video for that, no? But for any problem that we face in school, no, do not think that EdTech is a quick remedy. It's not a quick remedy. EdTech will never be a quick remedy. It will not be a band-aid solution, no, for any issue that we are currently facing, okay, in school, okay? But rather, EdTech, you should see technology in school as a toolbox that will help you and your students. Okay? Think of it as a toolbox at the back of your classroom that you can just go, pick up one tool and use this in class because I want to solve an issue, or I want to make things engaging. I want to make things more fun for my kids. Okay? So do not think that if I have a big issue in the school, I will just use technology. That's not right. It's not the right um, thinking that I want you to have in this time of the pandemic. No, I want you to think that EdTech is a toolbox out there. No, a toolbox would not work, okay, if there's no teacher, the right framework, the right thinking of teachers using it. Okay, that's why I always tell my teachers as well that the human brain, okay, is still more powerful than the CPU. Okay, do not let the feature of the computers, or do not let the feature of any application out there to control your choices. Okay, so for example, you found something new online, you found something that's really interesting, and then say, oh, I will use this in class. Okay, so that's an example of the feature controlling you. Okay, rather than thinking of the other way around, maybe I want to improve my students' learning. Okay, and this tool might be helpful for that. Okay, so that's the right way of thinking that I want you to have at the onset of the session. Do not always let the computer control you. Okay, your human brain, okay, the humans, okay, in general, are still more intelligent than our computers. Okay, so think of it, put it at the back of your head, that um, computers, okay, will never overpower the human brain. All right, moving forward, okay, let's go to uh, the question, what are the things to consider when choosing the right edtech tool? I think that's the main question. That's the, kumbaga, and the research question. That's our main research question for today. Okay, what are the things to consider, okay, when choosing the right edtech tool? Okay, that's why, like what I mentioned in the introduction, I would begin with the universal design for learning. Okay, what is the universal design for learning? So it's very important for teachers to know what the universal design of learning is, because it's a way of thinking. No, I always start with the way of thinking, the right frame of mind. No, it's a way of thinking about teaching and learning that helps um, give all students equal opportunity to succeed. And I think I am one with DepEd on this one. Okay, so for those teaching in the public schools, um, do not think that the digital divide is causing a lot of problems with the way you facilitate teaching and learning, because an application, an online tool that's available online for free, okay, may meet the universal design for learning. Okay? Do not think of it, do not think of technology as something that will really be negative, in terms of how it will be applied in the classroom kung wala akong hardware, if I don't have a computer, if I don't have a laptop computer, because many technologies available right now may work in the simplest form. And that's what we call the universal design for learning. If, in other words, um, all other applications, mm, are working towards creating and meeting the standards or the principles in the universal design for learning. Okay, so let's look at the principles behind the universal design for learning. Okay, so there are basically three principles regarding the universal design for learning. Okay, what are these? So first, representation. Okay, what do we mean by representation? Okay, it's to offer information in more than one format. Okay, so if you can offer, your lesson content in more than one format, then that would mean that you're meeting one principle of UDL. So for example, if I can deliver, okay, my my course lessons in a textbook, I can convert it to an audiobook, and then later on to be a visual storybook. Then I'm doing a lot of representations, because I can meet all types of students. If a student really has no internet connection, then I can um, maybe just use the textbook or a printed learning material. Okay, say for example, if my student has issues with visuals, or say for example they're very auditory, an auditory type of learner, they just love listening, which I have a lot of students. Okay, they love listening, they love putting earphones in, they like to seclude themselves, then maybe you can use an audiobook. Okay. But for students who are really visual, then you can move towards using a visual storybook. Okay. So in this way, we are meeting all types of student needs. Okay. The second point that I'd like to raise would be on action and expression. Okay. The second principle in the universal design for learning. And in action and principle, action and expression, there should be more than one way to interact with the material. Okay. So when you decide which type of material you use, it should not be just a one function tool. Okay. So for example, if you're doing a pen and paper test, okay, you may it may be transformed to a recorded oral presentation, or if now you're using technology, it should be a gamified quiz. Okay? And as you know, gamifying or gamification is a very big concept now in education because it's a way to engage students. No? It's a way for them to really express their feelings. It's another way for them to do activities in school. So we have to think of it that way, that online tools that we are using will somehow provide them a new experience, no? A new way to interact with that material. And then lastly, must be engagement. Okay, so there should be multiple ways to motivate students. And if you look at the literature, if you look at the researches available out there on online learning, motivation or engagement is a primary factor, to make online learning work. It's not just about the tool, it's not just about the online tool, but it's also about how do we motivate the students or how engaging these applications are for our students and even to you as teachers. No? Because if it's not engaging for you, what more for our students? Okay, so it's very important that we think of ways on how we can motivate the students to use that application. Okay, or the application should speak for himself, or itself, that it is something that really is engaging. It is something that is really something worthwhile to use. Okay, so that's why in the universal design of learning, if it's not interesting, if it's not engaging, why will you use it? Okay, so for example, if you're used to doing song and dance in school, maybe film viewing is rather more engaging. Okay. And for those who are really into technology, there's a scavenger hunt available online as well, which is an interactive treasure hunt. Okay. So you can move towards that. Okay. You can have a lot of ways to engage the students, okay, in ways we can never imagine before when we're doing face to face. Okay. But now with technology, there are a lot of ways to be engaged, to have the students motivated to really use the technology. And as you know, even if for younger kids, for those who are teaching in the elementary, even in the preschool, you can see how students, their face brighten up whenever they see a form of technology because that's something that they really enjoy. That's something that really motivates them. That's interesting for them. Okay? So moving forward, okay, I have here some examples, just for you to think about. These are some examples of applications or tools available that met the universal design of learning. So for example, if you look at your mobile phone, okay, whether you're using Android, whether you're using iPhone or iOS, or whether you're using Huawei and all and other operating softwares, there's always an option on accessibility. Okay? Accessibility, like what I mentioned in the universal design of learning, gives opportunities for other users of the online tool or the cell phone, okay, to use the cell phone, even though, say, for example, they're having some hearing problems, they're having some difficulty in seeing the text. So you have zooming, you have enlarging the font size. That's an example of the universal design, because it addresses the different types of users. Okay? For example, if you have seen those sliding doors, yung mga automatic sliding doors, that was also made because of the universal design. Kasi remember before, the doors are meant to be held, kailangan hawakan, and then you push it, okay, so that you can enter a specific room. But how about for those, for example, who have no hands or have amputated hands, or for example, using a wheelchair? So how will you get in? No? So, or for example, I have something that I cannot use in particular. So, those things are considered when you create a specific output. Okay, so that's a universal design for the doors. And another example of a universal design, okay, is the captions. So for example, if you're watching Korean novellas, which I'm sure a lot of you are watching, especially during this time, where you have a lot of spare time, okay, having captions or closed captioning, or CC as we call it, closed captioning, okay, is an example of the universal design, okay, because you're addressing viewers or audience who cannot actually hear or listen to the words, but rather we look at and we read the caption itself. It's like for us, no, we don't like for many of us, we don't understand Korean language. So the closed captioning is an example of a universal design because it gives opportunities for everybody to still watch the same show, okay, and enjoy the same story in every Korean novella. Okay, so those are examples of universal designs, applied in different tools that we have in our lives. Now, maybe just for a minute or two, in the comment section of your of YouTube right now, if you can type in, what other devices in your home do you think meets the UDL principle? Okay, so maybe somebody can give an example on that, or in the comment section, and I'll be glad to check, okay, if you really understood the concept of the UDL. Okay, so if you really recognize my example, which is crash landing on you, got that, Sir John. Great, great, very good feedback. Very good examples. All right. So I think it's we can move on. Okay. So I'll be sharing with you as well, just before I do the demo, a little bit of a rubric on evaluating online resources. Now, this is adapted from Asti and Watson in 2018. And if you think this is something that will be helpful for you, especially now that you're in the planning stage of your academic year in August, it's very good to have this rubric on evaluating online resources. And teachers, you can use this whether you are evaluating a free, or those, or maybe some of you or a lot of you are receiving a lot of calls from companies offering their online tools. So you can use this whether you're evaluating a free resource or a paid resource, because at the end of the day, students will be using it, you will be using it as a teacher. So this rubric might be helpful for you to make a decision. My analogy for this one is some of the schools I know even have a rubric on evaluating textbooks. Okay? So think of it as that way. That's my analogy on this one. If there's a rubric on evaluating textbooks, then there should be a rubric as well on evaluating online resources. Okay, so what are the things to consider when you evaluate an online resource? So there are a lot of things that you need to look at. It's a long list. I'll try to summarize it quickly. I'll share with you the document as well. CHRDF will be sharing with you my slides as well as the rubric so that you can have an idea. Okay. So first, okay, things to consider is the functionality, which includes scale, ease of use, how easy it is to use, and how much technical support is given to you. Okay. So for scale, for example, um, how much of my students can actually use this? Okay. So for example, how many functions are there? So for example, if it's just one function, It's a one function tool. So for example, um, Microsoft Word, which is a word processing document. Okay. And then you cannot do anything else about it. That's it. You type in the document, print it out, and that's it. Okay. Say, for example, if you compare it to Google Sheets or Google Docs, for example, it's a little bit different because the scale or the functionalities becomes bigger because you can now collaborate. You can now share it with other people online via email and so on and so forth. Okay. Ease of use would mean how easy it is to use for you as a student or as a faculty member. Okay, so for example, if it's very difficult to use, then why use it? Okay, and then how much technical support is actually given to you? Okay, so if the tool does not provide any support guides or instructional guides given, then that's something that you might consider it not to use because it's very important that when you decide for an online tool, there should be support given to you as well. Somewhere, ngayon, we're very comfortable with sending an email or with sending a Facebook message to the company or to the developer. So technical support is very important. Okay. Hypermediality, meaning if it can be converted, it can be used in different forms of media, meaning I can use it on my smartphone, I can use it on my laptop computer, I can use it on my smart TV, or I can use it in my desktop computer. So that's hypermediality, meaning I can use it in as many forms of media that I have available. So for example, if I only have TV in my classroom, for example, or I have a TV at home, can I still use this material to facilitate my discussion to my students? Okay. Second would be accessibility. Like what I mentioned earlier, accessibility is how users uh, participate in the use of that tool or in that online tool. So I mentioned and discussed that earlier. How accessible it is, how can other groups of people participate in this online tool? Okay, what would be the required equipment? So for example, I have this tool. What requirement will it need? Okay, what media, what form of media, what others? Will it require a strong internet connection? Will it require me to use a mouse? Will it require me to use or type in the keyboard? Okay, and cost of use. So although I will be sharing with you a lot of free tools this morning, later on, I also would like you to think if there would be some costs, okay? Because some of you, the premium features would require some costs, you know. Some websites out there, you have free version and then you have the paid version. So what will make you move to the paid version based on these features? And then technical, okay? How is it embeddable? Can it be integrated with my current LMS? Can I integrate it with all my course packs, with all my lessons? Okay. Can my software or operating software, no, that's OS, no, can the operating software of my computer handle, okay, the application? Baka naman it's too heavy for my memory. So why use it? Okay. So that's the operating software. Okay. And then how often do they actually give updates? Kasi even in our cell phones, the applications, we have to update them regularly to fix some bugs, to fix some changes, to make some upgrades, so to fix some issues. So that's also a thing to consider because if there are no upgrades, if there are no changes in the last few months, in the last few weeks, okay, that's not really a good application because a good application needs to be updated regularly. What else? Okay, mobile design should be considered now because according to research, more than 80% of students right now prefer using mobile devices. And when we say mobile devices, that would mean um, the smartphones, that would mean the tablet computers, and laptops. Laptops are mobile as well because you can carry it anywhere, anytime. Comparing it to the desktop or to the all-in-one computers that okay, because you cannot move from one place to another. Okay, so mobile design is very important as well. If it's device agnostic, meaning um, if I'm Android, if I'm iOS, or if I'm in Huawei OS, I can still use this application. I can still use this online tool. Functionality is the same. So if I log into Google Chrome or to my browser, it will be the same functions that I will be seeing in my cell phone, for example. Or if I have offline access, okay, is this application accessible still even though when I'm offline? Because as you know, in the Philippines, for example, this offline capability is a must to consider because our internet connection is not really stable. Okay, so, but if there's an offline capability, then that's a good application. Okay. Also, you need to consider is data privacy. Okay, especially right now where there's a lot of frauds, there's a lot of bad things happening in the internet right now. Identity theft is the number one issue with regards to data privacy and data security. Okay, so for example, um, how secure are our login credentials? How secure is it for students that whenever they log in, yung email and passwords ba nila that they use are very well secure? Are they well kept? Are they not used by anything else by the company? Copyright. Okay, so if you are uploading, for example, any pictures or uploading any videos, will this application have any issues with copyright? So that's another thing to consider. And then cookies. So I don't know if you have seen this, but whenever you go to a website, there's always a pop out right now, a pop up window that always say, do you want to allow cookies? Okay, because cookies, for those who are not really technical about it, these are your browsing history. This is your data that the companies are using to track your usage. No, so meaning if you click on this something, it tells you it gathers no all the company gathers all these data. If you went to something, it will also gather all those data. So that's why, say for example, if you wonder, if you go to Facebook Marketplace, if you go to Facebook Marketplace, you try to search one product, and then the next day you will see, even without searching it, you will see a lot of similar products from the previous search that you have. So it's an example of a cookie. So they are keeping all your browsing histories and all, and they are archiving it, they're keeping it, it's part of their data. Okay, so we have to be careful about it as well. Okay, because if it's getting a lot of information from our students, then it's not a good application. Okay, and then you have social presence. Okay, because socialization must also be part of the online environment. Okay, I'm a social studies teacher, I'm a social sciences teacher, and I'm very much this is a very big factor for me that even though I am in an online environment, I should be able to collaborate and talk to my friends, talk to my classmates in school. So online tools should also have a sense of collaboration with my fellow classmates as well as with my teacher. Okay? I don't want my students to be alienated with anybody else, okay, everybody else. I want my students to still connect with me. I want my students to still collaborate with their classmates. Okay. What else? User accountability. Okay, so if their actions online would tell something about it, so if you can give feedback about it, then that's user accountability. So how well their digital ethics, their way of using it, that's user accountability. So if they're using it, for example, in a wrong way, for example, to bully classmates, if it's an avenue for them to bash, for example, a fellow student, then that's actually a not good application. So for example, I do not really encourage everyone to use Facebook, because in Facebook, it's a public domain, it's a public interface, and um, there's a lot of ways to bully a student online using Facebook. And that's why it's not a good learning online environment. And then familiarity as well. So again, like what I mentioned earlier, if it's something that's not engaging, if it's not motivating, it's not something that they will be familiar with as well, then it's not a good application. So also, studies show that functions where students are very familiar with the use is something that they can adapt faster. No, so if they're already familiar with doing this function, say for example in school, okay, then it's not difficult for them to migrate and move to um, using this application because they are already used to it. They're familiar with it already. And then lastly, do not forget, okay, there should be a teaching factor in it. There should be a teaching presence. Okay. Again, like what I mentioned in the beginning, for those who came in late, do not let computers replace you or even control you. So you should be there. Okay. You should be there. You should always be there. Okay. The teaching presence must be, well, maybe including facilitation. So the use of online tool must give you the power to facilitate discussions as well. It may also think of things that you can still customize as a teacher. Kasi the thing is, with teachers, we're very happy, if everything is pre-packaged, everything is given to you already. But if it's something that I cannot customize for my students, think about it, okay? Because it cannot be a one-size-fits-all application. It must be customizable based on the needs of my students, okay? And then learning analytics, because all of these online applications are giving you some reports. No, learning analytics would also mean reports. It should give you a lot of data, a lot of reports for you to analyze the students' learning or the students' experience. How satisfied are they with using your online tool? Okay. And then lastly, do not forget that all of these things that we are considering when we use online should go back to their cognitive presence, should go back to the learning process, should go back to the learning basically that everybody must acquire. Okay. So it should be a way to enhance task or to modify any activity that you have. It should target the HOTS or the higher order thinking skills of our students. Okay. And lastly, they must be able to reflect, the metacognitive engagement. It's not just about learning the lessons, but also building up on their emotions, their reflective capabilities, how they what were their experience like, what did they actually learn outside the lesson that might be useful in their daily lives. So do not forget those aspects, when you try to adapt or when you try to consider an online application, because at the end of the day, it's about the learning and the learning experiences that they will take with them, after learning the technology or learning with technology with you as their teacher. Okay. So that's the rubric in general, like what I mentioned. Again, for those who came in late, I will be sharing the rubric with you, okay, so that you can use this over and over again whenever you try to evaluate an online resource. Okay. I also, if there are librarians here joining us today, I also would like the librarians to take an active role in this one, no? Kasi what's happening right now, it's just the teachers really finding their way, swimming into their ocean, into the big ocean of online tools. So the librarian should also take a step on this one and look into the different resources available online. Okay, so if you want to know more about the rubric and other resource materials and trying to identify um, the different resources, you might want to do some further readings. For example, you may read on the SAMR or the SAMR model. The SAMR model is a very nice framework that you can look into and align your resources, whether be it just a substitution, whether it's be augmentation, modification, or reevaluation. So that's a SAMR model. You can read on that. Or the Bloom's digital taxonomy, no? Or the Bloom's digital taxonomy is very helpful as well because it will give you an idea on what type of material or what type of online tool you will be using. So if you're not familiar with the Bloom's digital taxonomy, you can just Google it, and you can have a lot of documents um, on the Bloom's digital taxonomy. Okay, so maybe I pause with this one first. If you have any questions, I'm checking on your chat messages. All right. Any questions? All right. So if there's none, then let's go to the most exciting part of today's session, which is the free online tools. So like what I mentioned in the beginning, these are tools that I have used. These are tools that I have used in my classes. These are things that I really enjoyed using for my classes. These are not only tools, no. This may also include um, some resources that might be helpful for you. So I tried to group them. Okay, so I have about an hour, to go through everything. Hopefully, I can finish everything with you today. I'll be highlighting the best features in every application. No? So I won't really dwell on all the functions, but I would really dwell on the uh, the highlights. What I really love using about these applications. So the first group of applications will be the basic applications. So for example, we'll be looking at We'll Decide, Bouncy Balls. There's a public domain picture website, the citation generator for those who are teaching senior high school and research, and PictoChart. Okay, so I'll be creating some outputs for you this morning to demo a little bit. Okay, and then of course, free applications such as the Google application and Zoom. I'll be teaching you how to work your way towards the basic Google applications in Zoom, like what I like about it, no? So like what I mentioned, you will have maybe another session outside CHRDF about Google applications and all and how to use it, but I'll highlight only what I like using best, and what I like best about these applications, and some things that I really enjoy using. Okay, and Zoom. Okay, so if you're not yet familiar with using Zoom for your classes, um, then I'll be teaching it this morning. And then Project Gutenberg, there's also Twinkle, TED-Ed, and ListenWise. So if you have heard of it, then that's good. But these are libraries, no, online libraries of resources that you can use. Okay, and then I'll be looking at two learning management systems, which is Edmodo and ClassDojo. Okay, because um, my suggestion always for schools were asking me, sir, how do we start with an online learning class? My first answer is, one of my first answers, no, not the first, but one of my first answers is, you have to decide which learning management system to use. Okay, so um, that's what we will be discussing as well. And then lastly, I'll be looking at assessments. So there are a few applications available in interaction and collaboration, such as Socrative, Padlet, and Mentimeter. So hopefully, like what I said, we have about an hour to an hour and a half to do a demo of all these things. Um, I also highly suggest for this demo to work that you interact with me as well online. So if you have another computer or your mobile phone with you, you can try these applications while I'm doing as well. Because for example, in the last part, in the Socrative and Padlet and Mentimeter, um, it will require you, my audience, to participate on this one. All right, so I'll step out of my keynote. Okay, and I'll try to share my screen now, my browser. So most of these are browser based, and a lot of these ones um, can be accessed as well in mobile. So like what I mentioned, uh, a good design for applications or online tools, it should be accessible online as well. So I'll be closing some of my applications first. Okay, and let's go through it one by one. So I prepared all of these for you guys. So um, let's start. I don't want you to focus on my face. All right, let's start. All right, let's go first to we'll decide. Okay. Let's go first to we'll decide. Okay, I'll just wait for it to pop out in your screens. There's a little bit of a delay from my screen to your screen. So there you go. So that's we'll decide. So we'll decide is a decision making tool, or as I call it, this is the wheel of fortune for my students. So what I do with this very simple tool that I use is it gives me a way to decide what activities to do in class. Okay, so for example, I can use this to, for example, um, will we do a recitation today? Are we doing a quiz? Are we filming? Are we doing film viewing? Okay, or are we doing recess? I'm just doing a random topic. Okay, and then you can add more choices if you want to. You can make a title, what to do in class today. Okay, and then you can even change the color schemes. Say, for example, red, blue, and white. Okay, you can also remove the choice after it has landed on, so you don't repeat. How many spins do you want? If you want to make this circle smaller, and then if you click apply wheel changes, there you go. So let me decide, what do I need to do today? All right, so today we'll be having recess. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so what I love to do with using will decide, this becomes my recitation maker. Okay, so this helps me decide. Okay, especially when I teach in junior high school, or when I teach in senior high school, and even in college, in graduate school, it's very hard to encourage participation or recitation. So sometimes I put in the name. Say uh, for example, I just put Anna, I just put Jose, I'll just put um, I don't know, any other names. Put your names here. For example, I put Maria, I'll put Rhea, and for example, I put Sharina here. I just look at your names randomly. And then I'll put here, for example, class recitation. Okay. And then I apply wheel changes. And there you go. So let me see who's reciting in class today. All right, so you are reciting today, Anna. Anna, this is your question. So this is a very simple tool that you can use, for multiple purposes. You can use it to make some decisions in class as well, or uh, to do some recitation. Okay, so for example, another example, my last example for will decide, for math classes, I have seen will decide to be used for formulas in elementary. So for example, 4 plus 4. For example, 3 plus 5. For example, 8 plus 12. For example, 5 plus 3, 5 plus 1. For example, 4 plus 9. Okay. Again, apply will changes. Okay, and then, all right. Okay, okay. So for example, Ruby, can you please answer 4 plus 4? Okay, so this is again something you can use for multiple subjects. So if you're even if you're studying if you're learning science, if you're learning math, if you're learning social studies, even music, PA, and arts. No, so you can use will decide, no, for any decision that you want to do in class. Okay, so that's will decide. That's the first application. I hope you will be able to use this because I love using this for multiple purposes. Okay, the second application I'd like you to use, no, so I'll close this one now, would be the, did you hear that? That's the bouncing balls. Okay, so the bouncy balls. So the bouncy balls, I use this when I used to teach in the elementary school or in the primary school, even in preschool, because this measures the amount of noise inside the classroom. Okay, so you can use any device. You can use your smartphones. You can also use your laptop computers, as long as there is a microphone. Okay, as long as there's a microphone, you can use bouncy balls. Okay, so for example, if I turn my microphone on, okay, it will show you the amount of noise, which is obviously just my voice that you hear right now. But if you make it hypersensitive, hello, higher and higher and higher, it will tell me shh, to keep quiet. So you can control it in terms of sensitivity. You can control the number of balls you want to put inside. Okay? And then you can also change. There you go, more balls came in. Okay. And then you can change the theme if you want to use plastic balls. Okay. You can use also emojis, which I showed you earlier. Okay. You can also use bubbles. Okay. And then you can use eyeballs, which is kind of scary for me. Some kids may not be happy with this one, the use of eyeballs. No. So I prefer using the plastic balls or the emojis. So again, you can use this in class, even outside, even after the quarantine. You can still use bouncy balls to measure the noise in class or the participation in class. So it's a good way to, again, get the attention of the students. You can even control if it's a beep or a hush if you want to control these for the students. So it's very nice. It's very engaging for our students. And again, it's a form of classroom management even though you're online. Kasi, for example, if you're using Zoom, and they don't forget how to turn off the microphone and it creates a lot of noise, it will tell you you're too noisy, even though you're using the microphone of your computer. Okay. Yes, I agree. The eyeballs might give them a lot of nightmares. So, so I suggest to use the plastic balls or the emojis. But yeah, you can use it. Maybe for the higher levels, they might have, they might have, they might like it. Okay, so yeah. So bouncy balls. So bouncy balls, you can use it. All right. Very engaging. Okay. And mind you, this is offline already. So you can use it offline if you have a poor internet connection, as long as it's loaded one time. So you can connect it for one time and then it can be used already for the rest of the class. You don't need to be connected all the time. So it saves you a lot of internet data. Okay, so that's bouncy balls. Again, this is free. Okay. And then the next one is publicdomainpictures.net. So if you want to be safe, if you want to be safe with any photos that you download online, okay, I highly suggest that you go to public domain pictures. So if you want to use something as a background or something that you want to use in class to get the attention of the students, you may use publicdomainpictures.net. Okay, this is a big library of pictures that you can use. Okay, and this is free. again, and this may uh, be very helpful for you and your students. So you can just go in the search button. So for example, last night I was searching about World War photos. I can just search and it will give me a lot of photos during World War, which may not be available if you do the usual Google search. Because when you try to search using Google or Google search, some of the photos there are copyrighted. No, they are, um, they might be, you might be sued for copyright issues. Unlike this one, these are all public domain pictures. So you can use these pictures freely, meaning you don't need to clear copyright, and the owners of these photos really allowed people in the public domain, okay, to put in the public domain for them to use it. So for example, not only history, so for example, in science or in English, for example, I will search a random topic. So say, for example, maybe Shakespeare. Okay. So it will give me a lot of photos about Shakespeare, about characteristics in Shakespeare, all of these things. No, and these are all for free. And mind you, these are photos not available online. So just click one photo. So you see it's a very high definition photo. Okay. So meaning it's not pixelated, very good quality. Just click it, save it in your desktop computer, and then you can use it already. Okay. So that's how simple it is to use public domain. Okay. Again, I highly suggest that you get your photos here because again, this is free from copyright. Wala yung mga watermarks na dumadaan in front, no? Even background photos can be found here, no? So say for example, background. Oops, I forgot to click search, sorry. So for example, any topic that you want to go forward, you can use pick domain. So you see there's a lot of background, and also if you want to use it for your PowerPoint, you can use all these backgrounds for free. Okay. Yes, you can use this for module making, definitely, because you can just copy this picture, save it in your computer, and also this is free, no, because this is part of the public domain. So all public pictures, all public photos are put in this website so that you don't have to ask anymore for copyright. You don't have to check if it's not, if it can be used, because definitely it can be used, and it's free and it's high definition. So meaning maganda yung quality ng photos. So you can go to publicdomainpictures.net. Okay, so that's the third application that I would like to highlight. I hope um, you're interested with the first three. Let's go next to citation generator. So for those who are teaching research, for those who are teaching English, okay, it's quite tiresome, you know, for students to create their references, to create their library. You know. Even in other subjects, no, if you want to do, say for example, in science, you let them do investigatory research. Okay, for in social studies, you do a lot of essays, for Filipino as well. Okay, so this is beyond any language. So citation generator is a very good application to use, okay, because it's simple. It's simply copy pasting a material in this dashboard that they have, and then you can already highlight what resource you want to be created as part of the references. So for example, this is again free. This is one of my research papers. Okay, so for example, I'll copy paste this paragraph. I'll put it here. Okay, so this becomes my dashboard. Okay, and then I will, for example, highlight this coated material here because it's coated, no? So, and then when you highlight this, it will create, there will be a pop-out and it says create citation. Okay, so for example, I'll click this one, and then what are you citing? Is it a book, a newspaper, a web page, a video, a magazine, or a journal? Is it a photo, part of an encyclopedia, is it part of television, etc., etc. So these are all the resource types that you have. Okay, so for example, it's a website. So can you please enter the URL where you got this? So for example, I got this from our website, from sarisoluniversity.edu. Okay, I'll click next. It will automatically gather all the information inside. So there's no author in that because it's a website. When was it published? Maybe May 1. Okay. What's the document title? It will automatically gather all these information. Okay. Would you like to add any annotation? If there's none, just click next step. And there you go. Voila. That's how simple it is. Okay. That's how simple it is to create. And then as students, they can just copy paste this. Okay. Put it in their Word document again. And there you go. So that's how easy it is to cite, okay, resources available in citation generator. And then what I love about the citation generator as well is that I can switch, okay, from any type, from APA to MLA or to Chicago. Okay. So if you're teaching English, they think this is something really specific. You know? So for social studies, and I think languages, they use APA. Some teachers prefer to use MLA. Some would like to use Chicago. So I don't need multiple websites. I don't need to go to different websites just to create my references. I can just go to citation generator, okay, and then it will create already my bibliography, my references. And so this is a very nice application to give to our students as well. And again, it's very lightweight, does not require a lot of data to be used. They can also use their smartphones, okay, to copy paste any material there to get the references, okay, to create the references section or the bibliography. Okay, so that's citation generator. So I hope you will be able to use it for any document, okay, especially right now, no, according to many assessment formats, they're mostly in Word or in research types of assessment, yung mga pinapagawa nating research for our students. And it's very important to teach them the value of doing citations to avoid plagiarism. Okay, so that's citation generator. All right, so we're finished with citation generator. Next is PictoChart. Now, PictoChart is a very popular tool for photo editing as well as creating infographics. Because creating infographic is, for me, I enjoy asking my students to create infographics to summarize their thoughts, no, to summarize their learnings in class in a creative manner. Okay. Sometimes I also use infographics for my lessons as well. Okay, to offer a variety for our students. So it's not the usual PowerPoint all the time. Okay. So with PictoChart, you can create infographics. You can create your presentations, meaning your PowerPoint, because they have a lot of templates available for free. You can create posters. You can create reports, flyers, social media posts, and you can do it in custom sizes. So if you want to do, I know in Dep Ed, they use a lot of tar papels. So you can do a lot of tar papels using PictoCharts. If you want to print a tarpaulin as well, you can use PictoCharts as well to create your tarps. Okay. So for example, if I want to do an infographic, so for those who are not familiar what infographics are, this is how it looks like. Okay, so if you want to do a banner, if you want to do a report, or for faculty members who are really doing research, no? So if you have those poster presentations, you can use the PictoChart. So these are example of PictoCharts that you can use. These are all free of charge. You can just edit them and put in your information. So for example, I'll use one. Okay. So by the way, I'm using a wired connection. My internet connection is is less than 10 Mbps, so it doesn't really have to be a very fast connection. Okay, so like for example, I can just simply edit this. Okay? So for example, report on tools. Okay, so I can make some changes. I can edit this one. Okay, so that it will fit everything. No, I can move my tables. I can move my text. So I can use stock photos here. So it gives the students more variety to present their reports rather than the usual PowerPoints and all. Because sometimes it really bores them already, no? So this free application is very good for students to use. Kasi it also shows their creativity. They can start from a blank slate, and it can also be formatted in many ways. And then, so after that, after creating their design, for example, I'm done with my designs, I can simply just click download, and then I can download it in PNG format. Okay, I can do high quality or medium quality. You see level up here because these are paid features, but you don't actually need those paid features. You can just use the free version of this one. Okay, and then download this PNG and voila. Okay, you have your own photos, and then they can submit it to you already um, in your what do you call it? There you go. It's downloaded. So they can submit it to you via email. They can submit it to you via your LMS as well. So there you go. That's an example of an infographic. So this is another way again of presenting information. Okay. So there you go. Again, this may work. Some functionalities may work offline. So you may load all the tools already and then just connect again when you need to download the file. But for the initial loading, you need to be online. And then after loading all the tools, you can be offline. And then after that, when you want to download it, to download your creation, to download your artwork, then you need to be online as well. So you don't need to be 100% online. Okay, so aside from infographics, like what I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of PowerPoint slides, PowerPoint templates that you can use as well. So you can browse through this, okay, and select the type of design, okay, that you want to use. Okay, so for example, let me choose what design I will be using in class today. So, oh, let's use this one, healthy lifestyle. Okay. So there you go. So it's very easy to use. Okay, so have you the font already, you have the design. So healthy, for example. And if you just want to edit, again, just double click that. And then I'll be healthy food. Oh my God, I've been speaking about recess and food. Healthy food for kids. Okay, so you can just edit those and then you can already edit your slides here. So you can copy paste photos, you can copy in. So for example, if you have a previous PowerPoint already that you have created before, and then you want to copy paste it here, it's also possible. Okay. So yeah. All right. Okay. So that is PictoChart. So like, aside from that, like what I mentioned, um, let me just close this. There's also posters. So again, if you want to do some posters, you can do that as well. If you want to do some reports, there are also reports available. If you want to make them do some flyers, yeah, these are available assessment tools that you can use already for our students. So there you go. So I hope you're liking the first few of these assessments. Somebody asked me, gutom ka na po, Sir Dino. Yeah, actually. Anyway, thank you for asking. Okay, so let's now go to the next group of tools that I prepared for you guys, which are Google applications. Okay, so if you go to google.com, if you're registered as a Google subscriber, or if your school is a Google subscriber, you're automatically subscribed to a wealth, a variety of resources that you can use online. So for example, if you click these 9 buttons on the upper right hand, I'll make this bigger. On the upper right hand of your screen, those are Google applications that you can use for free once you are signed up with a Google account. So if you have a Gmail account, you automatically get, okay, these applications for free. I don't know if you know that, but for most of you who are you with using computers, you already have access to that. Okay. So what applications do you have? So for example, you can use Google Maps. Okay, so for example, for me, I use Google Maps in my geography classes. So I'd ask them, can you please find this place? Okay, so for example, so I can easily search, so say for example, where is Rome in Italy? Okay, so I have photos, I can search it, no, and this becomes my springboard for my lessons. So for example, my topic is on maybe science, and I want to discuss chemical reactions that happen during Chernobyl. Okay, so where is Chernobyl? Okay, so Chernobyl is a part, which country can you find it? Okay, so it's somewhere here. So they have to find it. No, they have to make some searches. So I there you go. It's in Ukraine. Okay. So I use this very much, to springboard any lesson that I have. So for example, even when I teach, for example, some places in my storybook. So for example, in English, I use Google Maps as well to springboard, to make it as a hook. Okay. Google apps are for free. You don't need to pay for Google applications. Okay. So for example, what else are available? So if you do not want to use Zoom, Google Hangouts is another way for you to do some meetings, to do some collaborations. No? So if you want to do something like this, if you want to do some face-to-face, virtual web conferencing with your students, Google Meet is also for free, okay, in your Google account. So you can just simply start a meeting, or you can join a meeting code. So if you want some meetings with your faculty as well, or with your students, you can use this. Okay. So for example, hi, that's me. Okay. And then you can also present your PowerPoint slide, etc., etc. So you can use this. You can invite people to join in your meetings, so that um, it will be another way to do synchronous discussions. Okay. What else? What are other free Google applications? Google Drive. Okay. So for those who cannot pay for example, for those who cannot pay for Dropbox or other storage or cloud storage available there online, okay, you may use Google Drive, because again, it's free. Okay, and you have, I think, 2 gig, okay, of cloud storage that you can use, to share and collaborate with your fellow faculty or with your students. Okay, so you can add files here. Okay, the good thing about Google Drive is you can access it again using your mobile phone. And once you download it in your mobile phone, You don't need to be connected to the internet anymore. So I can upload any file here so that when I move, say for example, I lost my computer or I forgot my computer, nasira yung computer ko, can I use another computer? You just simply need to put your files in Google Drive and then you can retrieve it as soon as possible. Okay, that's the power of using cloud storage. So the same for your students, no? Um, I also suggest that you use Google Drive for your students, okay, because um, you can create portfolios as well. You can create folder of their assessments available online and share it with you, okay? So because these are all free of charge anyway, and in this way, it's easy for you to retrieve. So halimbawa, dumating si PAASCO, dumating si accreditation, or you need some pieces of evidence for your ranking, then you can just simply use Google Drive. It's easy. Just you can create a folder. Say for example, I'll do sample folder. Okay. Okay. So where is it now? It is here. I create my folder. Think of it as a virtual desktop, and then I can upload any file here that I want. So say for example, I upload the file. I can drag and drop the file here, and it goes to the cloud already. So it uploads to the file, uploads the file to your folder, and if you have your Google Drive application in another laptop or in another computer, then you can see it also there. So you can also put it there, download it there. So you don't need to have your flash drives anymore. Yung mga flash drives na ginagamit ngayon, yung mga USB, wala naman na sigurong gumagamit ng diskette ngayon. Okay, so, but this becomes your virtual flash drive. This becomes your virtual desktop so that if you lose anything, it will all be safe, you know, in your cloud storage. So that is Google Drive. It's for free as well. Okay. Other free applications available, which I will not go through anymore, will be your word processing document, which is Google Docs, similar to Microsoft Word. So if you don't have Microsoft Word in your computer, just go to Google Docs. It will have the same functionalities. If you don't have Microsoft Excel, you can use Google Sheets. Again, this is online. You don't need to have Google Sheets anymore, Microsoft Excel anymore. And if you don't have PowerPoint, you can also use slides. Okay, so these are all for free. You don't need to have, you know, as a necessity to use Word, Excel, and Microsoft PowerPoint because they all follow the same format. Okay, for those who do not have an LMS yet, okay, you can also use Google Classroom. Okay, so for example, if you want to create a new class in Google Classroom, you can just simply just click the plus sign. You can create a class here. Just click the agreement. Then you can create your class already. Example, grade 1, section Apple. So for example, this is a Filipino subject. This is in room 1. Okay, I'll create the class. So this is a very simple learning management system because you can assign activities for your students. You can set some announcements to your students. You can respond to the posts of the students. So you can do that all in here. So for example, okay, I'll post something for my students. So please attend online Hangouts class. Okay, I'll post this here. And everybody from the class will see it. Okay, so that's an example. You can also change the theme. You want to use your school logo and all. And then you have any activity soon. And then if you have classworks, so you can create quizzes, you can create topics, you can also assign them reading materials here. So you can just click create. So for example, I'll create an assignment. Okay. You can just say submit research on coronavirus. Okay, submit file here. Okay, you can add another document. You can just assign it to 1 or 2 students if you have few students here. You can set the due date. Okay, for example, the due date is tomorrow. I'm a very strict teacher. There's no topic. I can create a topic. So for example, research making, research writing. I can even add a rubric. So I can do that. If you don't want, it's okay. And then I just click assign. That's very simple. Okay. So that's a very simple, learning management system. You can also manage them. You can also see their grades. Okay. So again, if you haven't decided yet on what learning management systems to use, you can start with using Google Classroom because it's for free. It's easy to use. It's user-friendly. Excuse me. Okay, moving forward. Okay, so I'll end with Google. Next is Zoom. So Zoom is a very popular video conferencing tool app that is also for free for schools, no? Free for schools siya. And if you registered your school, uh, you can get away with the 40-minute limit. Because if you don't register your school, you have 40 minutes only, okay, for every meeting, for every web conferencing, which I think is also fine because most of the classes, diba, our classes during face-to-face is 40 to 45 minutes, some 15 minutes, no? So, so you can use it. You can use it for your actual class. But if you registered your class, if you want to have, for example, an hour or more session, then definitely you need to sign up for your school. Okay, so it's very simple to use, to create. Just sign in. How do you set a meeting? And then you can create your own account. But since I already have an account, so for example, I'll sign in with my Google account. I'll click my account. It will go to my account and then I can already create a meeting. Okay, let me switch to another account. Sorry about that. So for example, I'll use my JRU account. Oops, what's happening? All right, so say for example, I have a meeting ongoing today, tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. So how do you set a new meeting? Just click schedule a new meeting. So for example, lecture on skeletal system. Okay, I can put here my description. Please be on time. And then I can set the date. When will it be? So for example, it will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. We have 1 hour to discuss. And then you can generate your meeting ID automatically. You can even require a password to make that class secure. Okay. You may have an option to turn on the video or not, but I usually let my class or my students to see my video, okay, and see them as well, just to check if they're really attending, okay. And then I require them to use both audio, okay, and then I will ask them to wait in the waiting room and let them enter my meeting at the same time, just to filter if you are really part of my class or you're just somebody else. Okay, just as a form of security. So just click save and that's it. There you go. So how do I inform students? So I receive a lot of questions about how do I actually inform my students about it. No, so of course you have to send the invite link to the students. You can just click copy invitation. Okay, so I can copy this and then announce it in my learning management system so that my students will have all the details, okay, to the meeting. So I can copy the invitation and then I'll send it via email. I'll post it in my learning management system. So my students will be informed about that Zoom meeting or that class that you will be facilitating. Okay, so that is Zoom. So again, Zoom is very useful right now if you want to do web classes, if you want to do online classes. It requires a minimum of 2 Mbps speed for it to work properly. So not very high, no, not very high. Even your mobile phone, your mobile data can work. It has a mobile application. You can use it from your mobile phone. You can use your tablet. You can use your laptop or your desktop computer. Okay. Next, okay, so we're done with that. Let's now go to the libraries, the online libraries available. Okay, so I'll begin with Project Gutenberg. So Project Gutenberg is my best friend's, is my best friend ever since I was studying in college. Okay, as for those who don't know, Project Gutenberg is obviously a project, okay, that curates, meaning they collect all available ebooks available for public use. So kung kanina, meron tayong website for all the pictures available for free use for everybody. It's the same with Project Gutenberg. So if you want to search for any books available online, okay, you can see it here in Project Gutenberg. And mind you, they even have Filipino classics. So for example, I search Noli Me Tangere. Okay, so you see I have Noli Me Tangere, El Filibusterismo in English, in Dutch, and other languages in French. Okay, so you have it here. So for example, if I want to do Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. So all of these are for free. Okay, so you can download the books in many formats. So for example, you see the file size is very light. Okay, the file size is very light. It's only 191 KB, kilobytes lang siya. And then you have multiple formats if you want to do with images, or if you are really kuripot with the data, you have no images. EPUB if you're using iPad, or if you're using iOS for ebooks. Okay, or if you just want plain text, okay, you can just use plain text UTF. Okay, so for example, I want HTML with images. I just click that. And there you go. I have the book. I can read the book already. All right. That's how simple it is. Okay, so you can, or you have access to a lot of books here, books that you may never have imagined that has existed. Okay, classics. You can also have science here. Even old books in science are also here. Okay, so you can do and search here. So for example, I'll search biology. See, there's a lot of books about biology that you can use here. So you can use it for maybe junior high school or senior high school or even college. For if you have teachers here in college, then you can direct your students here as well to read some reading materials. Classics such as, for example, To Kill a Mockingbird. One of my favorite um, books back when I was in high school. Oh, it's not here. Oh, I have wrong spelling. There you go. This is a sample. It's a collected works of Ambrose Bierce. For example, um, what's that? Dante. The Divine Comedy. One of my favorite books. I can use it. I can read with EPUB. I can read with HTML. So see, very helpful, very useful for our students who really are saving. No, you don't need to spend on a lot of books because these are classics. You see, there are 62,115 ebooks for you to use. So maximize this. This is for free anyway. You don't need to pay for anything. If you want to have some resource materials, you can use this as well. You can direct your students here as well. All right, so that's Project Gutenberg. Okay. Another I would like you to introduce is Twinkle. Twinkle is again a free website which you can use. The good thing about Twinkle is it's grouped based on the age of the students that you have. And aside from the age, so I see a lot of preschool teachers here. It's also aligned on the topics, okay, available for that age. So I really highly um, encourage you to check out on Twinkle. So for example, if I'm teaching ages 0 to 5, yeah, and I'm teaching, for example, mathematics. So I have a lot of resources that I can use already for my kids. So for example, I am teaching addition. Okay, so I'll download this free resource available. So for example, okay, so I can just simply click download now. And it's a whole zip file of everything that you actually need, from the PowerPoint slide to the worksheets. They're all here. Let me just find it. Okay. So here it goes. So now that I have downloaded it, I have my worksheets available, I have my PowerPoint, etc. Okay, I have worksheets, I have a PowerPoint. Okay, I have a PowerPoint to show my class. So I don't need to prepare any more PowerPoint, but if this is PowerPoint, so I can still customize it. I can still make some changes in it. So you don't need to be locked with using this one. So I can still make some changes out of it. So again, like what I mentioned earlier, application should be customizable for the teacher. So this is a good way to customize your resources. Okay. So that's Twinkle. Again, you can search for multiple subjects, not only math. Okay. There's even high school for it, for ages 11 to 18. For example, if you're teaching foreign language, if you're teaching Spanish, if you're teaching design technology, if you're teaching PE, if you're teaching, all subject areas are available. So for example, if I'm looking at science, okay, so all subjects are here. For example, I'm teaching physics. So it's all here. So you can download all the free resources available. So that's basically Twinkle. It's a whole library. If you're, again, signing up for this one is for free. You don't need to pay anything. There are free resources available that you can use here. All right. So that is Twinkle. Another website I really want you to pay attention to is TED-Ed. Okay, TED-Ed is a rather new website that came out as part of the TEDx campaign, wherein it's a short talk where students can, or teachers can actually share their resources. And in TED, what I love about TED, it's really very visual. It's very animated, and it's very concise and brief. So you don't need the thing is, with TED, they're really concerned with the attention span of students. So if you go to TED Ed, so if you go to TED Ed, you can search different lessons based on subjects and even on series. So for example, I'll go to lessons. And then you have here a wealth of videos that you can use. You can still use YouTube, to search videos, but they are not curated for academic purposes, for academic use. That's why I go to TED Ed instead, because I know these are meant for schools use. So for example, I want to watch a video on how vaccines work. Wow, very timely. Okay, so there's a video that you can share to your students. Okay, just copy this and send it to your students. Okay, and see how animated these videos are.
In 1796, the scientist Edward Jenner injected material from a cowpox virus into an 8-year-old boy, with a hunch that this would provide the protection needed to save people from deadly outbreaks of the related smallpox virus. It was a success. The
Okay.
8-year-old was inoculated against the disease, and this became the first ever vaccine.
All right. So it's an example of a video that they have. So if you see, it's very animated. It's very good to catch the attention of the students. And at the side, you can also see some activities that you can do with your students. So there's a question. There are some questions that they can answer. There's also a reflection part, like what I mentioned earlier for metacognition. Okay, for some reflection that they can write a paper out of it. They can make an output out of it. Okay, and you can even do some discussions, open discussions, to collaborate with your friends, to collaborate with your classmates, to collaborate with your teachers, no? So it's a very nice tool, and then you can also customize this. Again, a good online tool is something that you can customize as a teacher. So please, check out TED Ed. It can also have some series, no? Kung may Netflix series tayo, we also have some TED Ed series, no? So for examples, I love watching this one, Inventions That Shape History. So for example, hacking bacteria to fight cancer. Okay, they also have superhero science. So to really engage the students, no? So these are really curated content. These are very visual content, really meant for our students. So they are hosted in YouTube, but they are curated in a way, in one website, so that you don't need to search your way out of YouTube na. And then you have activities for your students and for you as teachers as well. You can create your own materials. And if you notice, our video earlier is only 4 minutes, really just enough to get the students' attention, not beyond their attention span. Okay, so go and play it out, search it. So you can also search for a specific topic. So say, for example, a lesson on chemistry. So you see, interesting topics about chemistry. What else? For example, toys for kids. Okay, so we have here some materials. Why do cats do that? Okay. Okay, so you see, you can search it and it's a very nice application. All right. Next, and the last in the libraries that I will be demoing will be ListenWise. ListenWise is, again, a free um, online tool that you can use. For this one is really meant for students who are really auditory, or for students who are traveling a lot of time, and or they just want to listen rather than read a book. Okay, so these are divided into several lessons. For example, in social studies, ELA, English, science. So they're all here. So for example, I'll choose a lesson in science. Okay, So you have here a lot of audio materials, no, so that they can just listen to, no, at the comfort of their homes that you can use in class. So for example, artificial photosynthesis. Okay. Oh, I think I forgot to log in. Okay. I'll just log in. Sorry about that. I remember signing up yesterday, but let me see. Oops, sorry. So you also have to accept the terms and conditions. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll go to my lesson again in science. So where did I go earlier on photosynthesis? Okay, so this lesson is premium. Let's go to all lessons. Uh-huh. A wrinkle in time. Wow. Okay. Okay, so the good thing about ListenWise is that you can also filter it based on the Lexile measures. You can also measure it based on grade levels. Okay, so for example, I'll do a search. Okay, free potatoes that disrupted the food chain. And then I can listen to it.
Coronavirus lockdowns have thrown the United States agricultural supply chain into disarray. Supermarkets and grocery stores are trying to restock their shelves. People are flooding food banks, but farmers are having to pour out milk, crush eggs, and get.
So the good thing about ListenWise is that it has a lot of comprehension questions and discussion themes that you can use. So if you're teaching languages and literature, or if you're teaching history or social studies, or even science, you can use this to develop their listening and comprehension skills. So it's a very nice tool that you can use as well and explore. Okay, and then it's very good again for students who are very lazy to read words and they just want to listen, because some students are really like that. We cannot avoid that. And again, in the universal design for teaching and learning, we should address those types of learners, those learners who are really uh, just want to listen or watch. Okay, so that's ListenWise in a nutshell. All right, let's now go to Edmodo. Okay, so I have two learning management systems. I have Edmodo and Class Dojo. Okay, we're nearly the end. Okay, so similar to Google Classroom, Edmodo and Class Dojo are learning management systems. It's a way for you to manage your class. So for example, in Edmodo, I'll create again, so for example, grade 7 naman this time. My subject is, for example, mathematics. Okay, for example, I'm teaching geometry and I'm teaching 7th graders. Okay, I'll click next. Okay, I can customize my class. I want to use blue. And then my class is created. That's how simple it is. So you can add students on your own. Okay, so you can add it manually. You can have also other ways to add your students. Okay, so you can just simply share this code to your students. Okay, and then they will automatically be added in your class. So they don't need to sign up with any email, they don't need to use their email address. They can just use this code and they will automatically be signed up in your class. Okay. The good thing about Edmodo is it uses the Facebook interface. No? So you can do your folders, you can you can check your members, you can also do your assessments and assignments here in class. Okay, so for example, I'll create an assignment. I can load an existing assignment, I can create a quiz, or I can load an existing quiz. So you can do that here in Edmodo. Okay. You can also do some classroom management. Okay, if you're teaching multiple classes, you can all have it here. Okay. You can also know what's due and what's the progress or the class grades of your students. Okay. They can also do discover, okay, meaning there are a lot of activities or applications that they can use here for free. Okay. So again, maximize this one because these are all for free. It also has its own library. Okay. If you want to put in your resources here using your Google Drive, so see how powerful Google Drive is. And then lastly, they can send in messages to you as well. So if you want to communicate with your students, those are the basic functions inside a learning management system, which I find very helpful. And you can even create groups within. If you want to do differentiated instruction, you can create multiple groups inside your class. That's what I like about Edmodo, because if you want to do multiple groups, if I want to do differentiated instruction, I usually do it in Edmodo because they can do it all here. Okay. So for example, I can create a post. So for example, how are you today, class? Okay. So I can post it on my connections, meaning my class. And there you go. So it's like Facebook. It's really like Facebook. It's a very friendly interface. Students can comment, students can make a like, they can make a comment, they can even share it. So that's the beauty behind Edmodo, because it follows the Facebook interface. All right, so that's in a nutshell Edmodo. Okay, for interest of time, sorry, I'm a little bit in a rush. Um, Cla- Class Dojo is another one. Class Dojo is very effective for the younger ones, meaning primary and elementary school students. Okay, this is widely used in schools in the US, in the UK, and in Australia. Class Dojo is a free learning management system as well. The good thing about the Class Dojo interface is that it uses very child-friendly interface. No? So for example, I have here a demo class, okay? And with Class Dojo, I can rate students based on their characteristics or activities in school. So for example, very good Beyonce, you help others today, so I'll give you 1 point for that. How about Justin? You're working very hard today, I'll give you another point. So if you're familiar with the stamp, the stars that they used to do in preschool or in elementary before, that replaces this one. That's replaced by this one. This is Class Dojo. Okay. And then aside from managing your class, there's also a portfolio section where you can create activities. Say, for example, submit a photo of your pet. Okay, submit it here. Okay, so submit a photo and then assign to class. So yay, so it's very easy to use for our students. It has also a mobile app in their tablets and their computers. It can be accessed offline as well. So it's very good for the preschool students to use it, or the elementary school students to use this one. Okay. Another great feature of Class Dojo, okay, another good feature of Class Dojo is that it has a toolkit. So for example, if you want to have a timer, okay, I'll give you 1 minute to blah, blah, blah to do this activity. Okay. And then what else? Aside from the timer, it has other tools such as group maker, noise meter, directions, think, pair, share. What day is today? Class, what's the weather today? And then if you want to have some music, you can also play that. Okay, so this is really very powerful for elementary school students. You can use it for your attendance as well. So for example, Beyonce is absent, Denzel is late today, Jennifer is on a half day today, so he needs to leave early. So you can do that. You can save your attendance and then you can have a class record for that. Okay. Another best feature, okay, of Class Dojo is its parent application. So I know some of you have parents who are really hands-on. So parents who are really engaged with the students' learning activities in school. So Class Dojo can have the parents be involved in their learning activities by just simply inviting them. So whatever activities, so for example, like what I showed earlier, a student got a +1 on helping others. So Beyonce's parents can be notified already that, oh, my child did something good today in school, or my child has an assignment to do. Okay, so the parents are notified every step of the way. So that's Class Dojo. All right. So, oh, I'm still in time. I have the last 10 minutes, and the last 10 minutes will focus on different assessment or collaboration tools. And I would like to start with Socrative. Okay, so Socrative is another interactive way to facilitate your quizzes, and it will be something like a gamified environment. Okay, so para siyang games. Okay, so for example, if you go to Socrative.com, if you have another smartphone there, okay, if you have another smartphone and you go to Socrative.com, okay, just simply type this course code or this classroom code, okay, SJQ-MWRS, okay, and then I will be launching this quiz, okay, and then I can also set feedback. I can require you to write your names. I may show question feedback. I may shuffle questions so to avoid cheating. Okay. I can even shuffle answers so that you can avoid cheating as well. And then I can just click start. Okay. So this is where you see anybody who's joining my quiz today. So again, go to Socrative.com if you have your smartphones with you. Go to Socrative.com. Type in this class code SJQMWRS, and you will see the quiz happening right now. So if you have a spare phone that's connected to the Wi-Fi or to the internet, you can answer my short 5-question quiz right now. Just type in SJQMWRS, just go to Socrative.com. Okay. So we'll go back later on if we have people answering. Another one is Padlet. Padlet is again a very nice way to collaborate and get information from our students. So first, you just simply sign up and create a Padlet. Padlet, think of it as a board, an open board where they can put their ideas today, or they can put your discussions for that. No, so for example, I'll create a simple Padlet today. Yeah, I'll put in sample Padlet. Okay, I'll use a different wallpaper. For example, I'll use this wallpaper. If I can change that. Okay, and then etc. etc. and then next. So now it's like a free discussion board. It's a blank interaction board that you can use and to facilitate discussion. So for example, how are you feeling today? Okay. And then what I will do next, okay, is to share this with my class. Okay, I can add members in my class. I can share the code to my students. Okay, I can share it even on Facebook. I can even share it on YouTube. I can share it on any chat. They can click that. Okay. So for example, I'll go to YouTube. I'll go to the CHRDF. Okay. This is the webinar happening right now. So I'll see my face here. Okay. I can share it even. Okay. So for example, I can make a comment. I'll type in here the link. You can just click that link and then you will automatically be directed to the Padlet I created. So you can put multiple questions. You can add any discussions that you want to do in class. So it's an open board. It's an open discussion. Any topic that you can use. So it becomes a very interactive tool. Again, it's very lightweight. Doesn't require a lot of internet connection. It does not require you to have a very fast speed internet. So you can use this one. Okay. Oh, we have people answering the Socrative. Very nice. Okay, great. Okay, so that's a sample. I hope I can see your responses as well here in Padlet. Okay, so thank you for participating. And then the last one is Mentimeter. Okay, so Mentimeter, think of it as your interactive PowerPoint or your interactive slides. Okay, because most of our PowerPoint presentations are very static, they're very flat. But with Mentimeter, it becomes an interactive PowerPoint presentation or an interactive presentation in general. So for example, I'll create a new presentation. So for example, sample Mentimeter. I'll create a presentation. And in this way, you can really encourage students to participate, and really interact with you as you go along the way. So, for example, I'll rank here. I'll do some ranking. So, for example, what is your favorite color? So I can add blue, yellow, orange, or green. Okay. And then you can present this. So if you go to menti.com right now in your other phone, and you use the code 3066414, you will be able to see this. Okay, this PowerPoint, this slide. And let's see how many people will answer this. So it becomes an interactive slide. So you don't have to have your slides to be, very flat, very boring. So it becomes an exciting way to present your PowerPoint. So you can go to menti.com, okay, and use the code 3066414 and type in your response. So aside from that, I can add another slide. I can also do some multiple choice. I can do some word clouds. I can do some open-ended. I can even do scales. I can even do Q&A. I have a lot of activities here that I can do using Mentimeter. Okay, so it becomes a very nice way to engage students when you want to do your presentations in class. So it's not a combination of just a combination of text and pictures. Okay, so you see I have live responses happening right now. So you have blue is becoming number 1, yellow is number 2. So you see it's a very nice way that you can actually see the responses of your students live, real time. Okay, let me see if some people answered my Padlet. Nobody answered my Padlet. Okay, but let's see Socrative. So you see, wow, many people answered Socrative. Okay, and then you see Mentimeter. All right, so you see blue, orange, green is happening. So it becomes very interactive. It's very nice to use for your class as well. So it becomes very interactive. All right, so that's the end of my presentation. It's exactly 10:59, and I hope you enjoyed a lot of my demos that happened this morning. Just to end, just no, in your chat, in your comment section down below, if you can, or on the side of your desktop computers, I'll be glad to know what will be the three tools that you'd like to explore more. Okay. And again, thank you very much for attending today's session. I hope you learned a lot from the universal design of learning to the rubrics and to the free tools that I shared with you today. These are tools that I really love using for my classes. And I hope you will be loving the same tools that I use in class as well. And good luck with using these online tools. Good luck in preparing for your classes. And stay safe and stay healthy. So thank you very much. Bye.